LA. Okay. I'm delighted to welcome you here today from different parts of the world. Isn't technology awesome? Some of you I know very well, some just a little, and others I've not met at all. And perhaps we will be able to meet sometime in the future. I do hope so. I feel so privileged to have this opportunity of sharing our experience of the amazing teachings that fall under the framework of Kabbalah and the Tree of Life. I have studied Kabbalah for over 22 years, and I started teaching Kabbalah 12 years ago, over 12 years ago, actually. It is my belief that the best way to learn a subject is, in fact, to teach it. And my experience has proved this to be absolutely so. Kabbalah is an incredible system of logic and a phenomenal technology that can completely change the way you view your life. We will learn the differences between having a reactive life in which we merely respond to the superficialities and illusions of this life, and choosing a life that is proactive, in which we make choices from a place of self-awareness, from the perspective of our soul's journey and the lessons we are meant to have on a soul level. Kabbalah is not a religion. It is not dogmatic. It is not a belief system that you have to buy into, and it's not anyone's personal opinion of how the universe works. It is simply tireless, timeless knowledge that we are able to dip into and use all the awesome teachings that are so well presented for us to absorb and use in our everyday life. Kabbalah is an entirely new paradigm for living. It is a whole new way of looking at the world. When a person is used to looking at life one way, that is the way you view things, and it's very hard to change things about your life. They say the definition of stupidity is doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. We understand that the only way something is going to change in somebody's life is that we start thinking about something in a different way. I am passionate about Kabbalah, and this is something that David and I have in common, as well as blood, because we are related. My father and his father were first cousins. I believe we are in the university of life and all discovering who we are and what our strengths are. The current times are particularly challenging for many people. We all have latent abilities within us to be able to face and overcome whatever issues and challenges we face. Each lesson we are here to learn is another module. Unfortunately, we cannot pick and choose which module we want to take. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Kabbalah helps us to clarify our inner experiences. When we have a clearer view of what is inside us, of who we are, we can then more easily find ways to express ourselves. I personally have deleted the word difficult from my vocabulary. I prefer to use the word challenge instead. There is a big difference. Difficult is something that perhaps you feel as though you're not able to do at all, whereas a challenge, now, That perhaps makes us stand taller and straighter and go for it. And we immediately become more engaged. It could be subtle, and it's important. I have also found that the tougher the challenge, the bigger the reward is of knowledge and further understanding of ourselves. The tree of life is an amazing vehicle or tool to enable us to understand ourselves and others more fully, and provides a structure enabling us to clarify our inner experiences. When we so engage, we are able to grow spiritually and as individuals. In so doing, we are able to work through challenges we are faced with on a daily basis. Kabbalah teaches on many different levels. It can give us insight into the world we live in and into our psychological makeup. It describes how our minds work and reveals a profound understanding of our essence, our spirit. The Sephirot on the tree of life also correspond to the human body. Using Kabbalah, we can come to a greater understanding of our body energies and the relationship between physical, emotional, and mental energies. I teach Kabbalah in a three-dimensional way. It is experiential. In other words, we experience it. We get to feel it. For me, other teachers who just lecture at you with information teach it in a very flat way. For example, I want people to experience a particular Sephirot by perhaps choosing a piece of music that resonates with them, with the qualities of that Sephirot. Then perhaps they could choose a poem or a piece of prose or a moving speech that totally reflects their experience of that particular Sephirot too. Now that brings Kabbalah alive for me. Listen with an open heart and an open mind, and you may find that Kabbalah has very logical and practical applications in the times we live in that will enhance the life that you now lead. And now, I want to say a little about my co-presenter, David. I am so grateful to him because he has given me so much support and encouragement for what I am doing. He also has an amazing ability to hone in on what is pertinent when needed, and I have learned so much with him. I value his input highly. In fact, David is one of my star pupils. His passion for Kabbalah is infectious and his thirst for knowledge inspiring. As a teacher, he is sometimes challenging and sometimes patient, but nevertheless awesome. David has also been teaching me the intricacies of my computer and how to make a friend of it so that it will answer all my commands. He is a formidable teacher. The program is now on the screen, so you're able to see what we are covering. May we please ask you to assist us in keeping to the timetable as much as possible. May we also suggest that you ask any questions you may have at the end of our session during the questions and answer section. We welcome your questions. They are important to us, and we will endeavor to answer them to the best of our ability. Well, enough of my words. I now hand you over to David, whose personal experience of Kabbalah is easy to follow, enlightening, and a well-presented glimpse of a way into spirituality. I find it engaging, insightful, and entertaining. David, the stage is yours.
Well, hello, everybody. Can you hear me? I assume you can. Very good. Let me get my presentation going. There we go. All right. Well, Ruth, thank you very much. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to be discussing the flat dimension of Kabbalah, which is, I'm going to give you the history and what it's about. When I'm done, Ruth will take you to the next dimension, which is the practice of Kabbalah. So today, I'm going to talk to you about what is Kabbalah, the structural model of Kabbalah, and Ruth will give you a practice of Kabbalah. Before I get started, I want you to know that Ruth is my second cousin. Ruth and I go way back. Ruth, you took care of me when I was 1.5 years old during my brother's bar mitzvah time. And Ruth also shared a room with me for almost 6 months when I was 3.5 years old. So we go way back. I guess we bonded back then. I don't know. Over the years, I give you a little background about myself. I'm an engineer by training. I worked for a Fortune 500 company for 15 years, and then I had a business running a business with my brother, which was installing telecommunications and computers. After I retired about 5 or 6 years ago, I had plenty of time to study things outside of work. And I started studying Torah. I started studying Talmud, Mishnah, and eventually I bumped into Kabbalah. And what was I searching for? I was searching for knowledge. I wanted to know the knowledge of all these great rabbis, great thinkers. I wanted to know what Moses was thinking. I wanted to know what Abraham was thinking. I wanted to connect with these great leaders, and I wanted to know what was this great knowledge they had. That was my quest. When COVID hit about 1.5 years ago, world has changed completely for all of us. It has changed for me too. And I started communicating with Ruth. We've been in touch through the years, but just during the holidays, we would send good greetings and good wishes, and we would be at weddings and bar mitzvahs together, but we really never connected or really spoke about important things. And I told her that I'm studying Kabbalah. And Ruth says, really, you're studying Kabbalah? Well, I teach Kabbalah. And I said, wow, that could be something we can work on. And Ruth says, okay, now when I teach you, I want you to give me your undivided attention. You are welcome to study whatever you want after I'm done with you. But until then, I want your full attention so I can teach you Kabbalah. You need to have like a single teacher so you can learn the concept, and then you're more than welcome to study other things. So I studied with Ruth, and I also study other things which I will share with you, like Torah, Talmud, the Zohar. I participate in learning sessions with Chabad and other religious organizations and other secular university sessions. All right, well, enough about me. All right, so let's get started. Before we start, I got to mention something. This shiur in Hebrew means this lesson, is dedicated to the memory of Tony Morris. Tony Morris is Ruth's husband, who passed away almost 1 year ago, and he passed away of COVID. So we're dedicating this shiur today for Tony Morris. Okay, the first exposure we had to spirituality, at least from my point of view, is religion. And there are many religions in the world. Well, we have what I call Western religions, which I classify as Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Those are the three big ones. And they call them the Abrahamic religions because they all descend from Abraham. And in the Western religions, which is where I was brought up and where most of us here in the room today have been brought up, we were taught that we are an earthling. We are a dot in this world, and that's the representation of us. So here's earthling, that's us. And here's God. God is this almighty thing that we all look up to, and it's kind of a separate entity from us. It's an all-knowing, all energy, all power thing. That's what we were taught. Eastern religions view the relationship of us and the world a little bit differently. So this is God, and this is us. That's a very different concept than the Western religions. What this represents is that we are part of God. We are part of the creation, and more interestingly, is God is with us and within us. So if we want to search for God, we can't look outside of us. We're going to have to look inside of us. So let's dive in a little further what that means. All right, so what is Kabbalah? Kabbalah is spirituality. Kabbalah in Hebrew, it's a Hebrew word, it means receiving. And it's the receiving of the knowledge. The knowledge was given to Adam, and Adam does not mean a man's name. It means earthling in Hebrew, a thing of the earth, an earthling. So it applies to no matter what genders or race, it doesn't matter. It's just earthlings. In the Garden of Eden, the knowledge was passed down orally to Noah, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Joshua, the judges, King David, King Solomon, even Jesus Christ, and even the prophet, the Islamic prophet, Muhammad. That's the knowledge. So a little history. Most of the Bible is the story of the people who knew and experienced Kabbalah. To understand the secret messages of the Torah, knowledge of Kabbalah is essential, and I will give you that example a little bit later. Sefer Yetzirah is the book of creation, is the title of the earliest known book on Jewish mysticism. The book is traditionally ascribed to patriarch Abraham, although others attribute it to the writing of Rabbi Akiva. The book of Zohar describes much of the principle of Jewish mysticism. The Zohar is not a canonized Jewish scripture. Early authorship of the Zohar is attributed to Shimon ben Yochai, who lived around Sfat, Israel in the 2nd century AD. Now, the purpose of Kabbalah, it's a collection of ideas and models to describe humans' thinking to help us understand our purpose. Kabbalah is supposed to be studied after all other sacred Jewish texts have been studied, and a person is older than the age of 40 and married, and a man too. In traditional Jewish circles, you cannot study Kabbalah unless you're a man and you've studied Torah and has been a father. Kabbalah encompasses all human emotions, including instinct not commonly discussed, such as sexual desires. It covers everything, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get into it a little bit more. All right, the book of Zohar is cited many times when they talk about Kabbalah. So let me spend a little bit of time on what the Zohar is. I am actually taking Zohar classes from a master professor, Daniel Matt, who translated the Zohar from Aramaic, and he teaches live if anybody's interested. If you are, get in touch with me. And he teaches us for an hour and a half every Tuesday. So I'm a little familiar with the Zohar. The Zohar is basically a commentary on the Torah, okay? So it's just another interpretation. I'm sure you've picked up a Torah and you've had explanations of what the word, it's the same thing. So let me give you a brief example of how the Zohar views the Torah, the scriptures, from a spiritual lens, which will change the whole scope of what you're reading. So let me give you an example. Here's a quote from the beginning, from Genesis chapter 1, section 1. It says, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Now, the way we interpret the first line of the Torah, and this is the most common interpretation, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. The Zohar doesn't quite view it that way. The Zohar takes the same words, but it says that knowing Hebrew and knowing the structure of Hebrew and the meaning of Hebrew, that's not what that says. So according to the Zohar, it says that in the beginning, the Almighty, which they call Ein Sof, created Elohim, the sky and matter, as if Elohim is a messenger of the Almighty. So I just wanted to give you that. That's very different, controversial, but this is very different than the way we were taught, at least the way I was taught. Let's discuss spirituality before we dive into the models of the Kabbalah and what it stands for. So spirituality. So we have a body, we have a mind, and we have a soul, which sometimes is referred to as spirit. In the Torah, we're getting hints about this. And this, I'm taking a little bit from scriptures to show you an example of how our ancient forefathers tried to send the message to us. Then the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living being. That's from Genesis. Judaism relates the quality of one's soul to one's performance of the commandments, the mitzvot, and reaching a higher levels of understanding and thus closeness to God. Judaism places great importance on the study of the souls. And this is if you look it up in Wikipedia. Kabbalah and other mystic traditions go into greater detail into the nature of the soul. Kabbalah separates the soul into 5 elements corresponding to the 5 worlds: Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, and Yechidah. And Kabbalah has also proposed the concept of reincarnation. They call it Gilgul. Gilgul is like recycling in Hebrew. And again, I took this out of Wikipedia. So you're beginning to see there's a lot of hints going on here about other things happening that were not very apparent to us, but kind of were sent to us as messages. Okay, let's talk about creation. Now, science explains creation as the Big Bang. Well, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't explain anything to me. And I am a scientist by nature, the Big Bang. According to spirituality, or our Tanakh or Kabbalah, creation is explained a little bit differently. In the beginning, there was nothing. Ein is nothing. Then there was Ein Sof, without end, and then there's Ein Sof Or, which is energy and light. Below that, we have the tree of life, which consists of 10 Sefirot and 22 paths connecting the Sefirot. Okay, we're going to dive a lot more into this in a minute. Now, below that, we have the physical world. That's the here and now, everything that's happening, everything you're seeing, everything you're feeling, what you're seeing in front of you, what you're hearing. This is the physical world, okay? So we're in a different dimension here than the way science suggests. All right. Now, I'm kind of an engineer, computer engineer, scientist. When I saw this explanation, right away, I saw the creator as being the system designer, the architect of everything. And he created software, which is spirituality, and he created the physical world, which is hardware. So it's like our computer, you know, we have a case, we have a monitor, we have a mouse, we have a keyboard, which I just touched, and I'm sorry I did. I'm sorry. Okay. And the thing that runs everything, the interface, is really software, and software is equivalent to spirituality. It's the program that runs in our bodies that connects us with our purpose. Okay. It's the software. Anyways, that's my little engineering attempt to try to explain this. Hopefully somebody agrees with me. Larry, do you agree with me? I hope. Don't answer. All right. So let's go into the model of this Sephirot, which is between God and the physical world, the spiritual world. We're going to concentrate on that. So the model is constructed in such a way. We have 3 columns. On the right side, we have what they call the masculine active, and that's the right column. In the center, we have the equilibrium, which is the middle pillar. And on the left side, we have the feminine passive, which is the left pillar. Okay, so on the right side, there are 3 sephirot, they're represented as circles. They also have numbers. And on the right side, here they are. I'm going to list them for you in a row, starting at the top. Chokhmah translates in Hebrew to the word wisdom, and it is the second sephirah. Below that is what we call chesed, which is mercy, and that is the 4th sephirah. And below that is the 7th sephirot, which is called netzach, and that means eternal peace. On the left side, the feminine passive, the one at the top is called Binah, which is understanding, and it's the 3rd. The 5th one below it is called Gevurah, which is judgment. And the one below it is the 8th one called Hod, which is splendor. And I will get into a lot more details, so don't be, I'm just introducing you to the terms at this point. In the center, the middle column, at the very top, which is number 1, the first enumeration, it's called Keter, which means crown. Below that is something called Tiferet. It's the 6th sephirah, and it means beauty. Below that is the 9th sephirah, which stands for Yesod, and in Hebrew that means foundation, like a foundation of a building. And at the bottom, number 10 is something called Malkut, which is the kingdom. Now, let's observe some of these things and get into more details. Here's the whole tree to show you how it's arranged, and you're beginning to see the sketch of the tree already. I just want to mention, I won't get into too much detail, but all these sephirot are connected with paths. And on the left side, you're going to see tarot cards. Well, you'd be surprised, but tarot cards are used in Kabbalah, but they're not used as fortune telling, and they're not used the way the gypsies would have used them, as telling your future. They merely represent the path between the sephirot. As if it was a game, it just tells you, it represents the path between the sephirot. And I won't say more about it except to tell you that there is a link to tarot cards. All right, let's get into a little more detail as I promised. So, sephirot in details. So a sephirah is an emanation of God. That's what it means. Sephirah in Hebrew, if any of you know Hebrew, means enumeration, a numbering system. It's just simply numbering something. The order is important here, so we're going to go in order this time and talk about what it means. So we mentioned Keter. Keter means crown, and what it represents is what will be. It is pure energy and pure potential. It is something that is kind of removed from most humans, but humans can reach that level. I'm sorry. The second one is Chokhmah. Chokhmah means wisdom, and it is the male aspect of God. Binah means understanding, and it is the female aspect of God. The fourth one is Chesed, which means mercy, and that is compassion. The fifth one is called Gevurah, which is justice. It has to do with heroism. The sixth one is called Tiferet, which is beauty. It's the love of humanity, love of your fellow neighbor, your friends, your children. It's the love of humanity. Netzach, one of my favorite ones. Whoa. Netzach means eternity. Netzach is passion, inspiration, arts. Netzach is love, eroticism. It's quite a unique sephirah. It's where addictions are. Why do people get addicted? Because they want euphoria. You know, they're in search of it. So and it's also the arts. What inspires people to create musical or physical art? It's amazing. Or scientists too, like Einstein. Where did he get inspired with some of his things? It is Netzach. The eighth one below that is called Hod. It means splendor, and that means facts. Think of it as the world library. It's Google. It's everything. It means everything. Below that is Yesod, foundation. That is our identity. This is who we are. This is who we are in time. Like when we were children, we were children, we had a father, we had a mother. You know, now in life, we have people we pay taxes to. You know, it's the people that run our judges, the jobs. It's our identity of who we are in the world, and also our families. And the lowest level, the number 10, is called Malkut. It's kingdom. It's the first level of spirituality, sometimes referred to as Shekhinah, which is the presence of God. And it is the here and now. Worth mentioning, it's not actually, doesn't have a number. It's called Da'at. Da'at in Hebrew means the knowledge of the tree. It's after you've mastered understanding this, then Da'at is a representation of knowing the tree, knowing spirituality. And it is mentioned sometimes, so I'm mentioning it to you. So let's make some observation. I'm going to go back to on the tree. Everything about spirituality is about balance. You don't want to be skewed in one or other direction. And if people are, or countries are, or systems are, something is wrong, and we sense that. So Gevurah and Chesed have to be balanced, because justice and heroism on its own is what motivates soldiers and warriors to go to war. But if it's not balanced with Chesed, you're going to have a lot of collateral damage. Nazi Germany was a great example of it. These people who went to war and conquered almost all of Europe, they thought they were doing the right thing. They were, you know, heroism, you know, and they stood for justice of humanity, and they decided that some people are subhuman and have to be eradicated from this world. That was one example of a society really going tipped on the Gevurah, the left side of the tree. It has to be balanced with Chesed, which is mercy and love. There has to be purpose for everything. You don't just go kill. It has to, that's murder in the Torah. You know, you're allowed to protect yourself in self-defense, but you can't just go out there and kill because you think it's the right thing to do. Another one is a good example. Let me tell you about love. So in Hod, which is which is, I'm going to go back to the previous tree. In Hod, love is, you can read about it. There are novels, there are sexually explicit novels. There, you can read a whole lot about novels, how to be romantic, Romeo and Juliet. That would be the details of love. In Tiferet, it's love and love of humanity, like loving other people, loving your life. You know, it's the love of life. And in Netzach, love is, you know, the love we have for our spouses. You know, it's the erotic part of love. So I'm just trying to give you that love, how it could be looked at on the tree from different angles. Another observation I want to make on the tree is, even though I told you there's a feminine and a masculine side, these 10 Sefirot exist in every human's mind and spirit. This is how we connect to God, through these different these Sefirot. This is how we connect with God. That's why we have and call it the tree of life. All right. A little mention about two other observations. First, there's something called the Triads. There's this supernal triangle. It's the realm of the intellect. That's at the top. The ethical triangle is the realm of the soul. And the astral triangle is the realm of nature. And I'm referring to the triangles on the left column, if you see them here. There's also a line called the abyss, which is between the supernal triangle and the lower triangles. And the abyss is a very important separation, because it's a separation between potential of the universe and thoughts. Now, what does it mean? It means, can you imagine what it would be like if every thought that came into your mind was real and you acted on it? You obviously don't. So that's what we call the abyss. Is it's potential things, but it doesn't mean that these are things you're going to act on. So the abyss is very important. There's another concept called the worlds, and I will just mention it to you. We have the world of Atzilut, which is the world of emanation. We have Beriah, which is the world of creation. We have Yetzirah, which is the world of formation. And we have Asiyah, which is the world of action. And they engulf these particular Sefirot. I'm not going to say too much more about it, except it is mentioned in Kabbalah. Archangels is another very important topic in Kabbalah. It's mentioned a lot. Before going to sleep, many Jews, religious Jews, Orthodox Jews, recite a traditional prayer naming 4 archangels. And here's the prayer. It says, to my right, Michael, and to my left, Gavriel, in front of me, Uriel, and behind me, Raphael. And over my head is God's Shekhinah. Shekhinah means the presence of God. It also means the female aspect of God. The word Shekhinah is used many times in Kabbalah, and it means the presence of God. The Hebrew word for angel is malach, which means messenger. For the angels are God's messengers to perform various missions. The Jewish belief in angels goes as far back, where we read about angels calling out to Abraham at the binding of Isaac, angels appearing in Jacob's dream, Jacob finding with an angel, and many more accounts of angelic activities. In the Torah, they may not mention them by name, but they mention them as a person or a man or something was there, and he was passing on the message of God. According to Jewish tradition, an angel is a spiritual being and does not have any physical characteristics. The first angels mentioned by name in the Bible are Gabriel and Michael, and much later book of the canonization, the book of Daniel. These named angels are considered high angels of minister of God. We refer to these high-ranking angels as archangels. The Talmud names 4 angels who would later be known as archangels surrounding God's throne, like in the prayer. He made 4 angels to surround his throne: Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. Book of Enoch, a non-canonized books from history, mentions 7 holy angels, often considered the 7 archangels: Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Seraquel, Reguel, and Ramiel. And some of us who attend temple, I can tell you that almost every Friday night on the left side, we sing Shalom Aleichem Malachei HaSharet. They're talking about this. You know? So I'm not telling you anything crazy here. We say and recite this all the time in our synagogues. All right, the study of Torah. Kabbalah is a living platform that lasts a lifetime. A journey starts with a single step. You got to start somewhere. Kabbalah is a way to live consciously and to die consciously. There is so much more that is not covered in this introduction. Prayers, Gilgulim, reincarnation, previous lives, future lives, etc. Torah study that encompasses Talmud and later teachings. The times, science, circumstance, phases of life, politics, financial status, etc. impacts our practice of Kabbalah. Learning Kabbalah, living Kabbalah changes you. It becomes more potent when practiced. You know, until Ruth taught me about Kabbalah and living Kabbalah, in other words, experiencing what I've taught you, to experience it, it made me connect to my being. I think I'm a better father now, a better husband, a better lover, I hope, a better friend to people. And also I've discovered art. I've been writing poetry. I've learned poetry. Those things were not available to me, or I never thought they were important, or I didn't understand them until I studied spirituality, Kabbalah, and my teacher is Ruth. So everything I've told you comes from Ruth. She teaches all this in a lot more detail than I introduced you to. So one more thing I want to mention before I pass the mic over. Meditation is part of Kabbalah, especially living Kabbalah. Meditation is a method of turning off the physical world so that we connect to our spiritual inner world. Meditation is a personal experience, and it allows us to explore and connect to our inner world. Meditation encourages us to make connections that are not possible in a conscious, reactive state. Meditation requires regular practice. Our ability to connect with our inner being is a skill that needs exercise and guidance from a practicing teacher. MRIs show that meditation alters the brain activity. On the left side, I have here a few MRIs, and I saw a study about yogis who meditate in very, very intense state. They did a scan of their brain, and they found that when they're in a meditative state, their brain actually makes more connections. It is more active. There's more energy in the brain when one meditates. Now, I thought it was the opposite. I thought it shuts things down. No, it makes things connect more in our brains. So I wanted to illustrate to you and point that out. And at this point, we're going to take it from the flat two-dimensional thing that Ruth was referring to. I told you about something. She's going to expand the dimension to another dimension now, and we're going to go into the practice dimension. So Ruth, I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and you're on.
Okay. Thank you, David, for an amazing presentation. Each time I hear it, I find something more that catches my attention. I love your images and illustrations, which so add to the whole package. I'm now going to guide you in a visualization. I promise to go slowly and easy with you all. I am aware that for some people, my accent is different, and I know in the past, David has found it difficult to totally understand what I am saying. Now, I think I must have improved because he understands me much more. If you wish, I don't know if you have a candle with you, but if you wish, you may now light your candle. When I meditate, or when I do a meditation or a visualization, there's something about having the natural light of a candle. Now, I want you to just relax. I want you to find a comfortable place to sit and make sure that you will not be disturbed. You may lie down if you wish. And for a moment, just allow yourself to be in this space, all of us together, and just relax. Let your breathing become soft and gentle. And as you breathe in peace and tranquility. On the out breath, let go of any tension that is been brought about by something that perhaps has upset you during the day. Just allow your breath to be very soft. Take your awareness now to your shoulders and just let them gently relax. Take your awareness to your upper arms, your lower arms, and then your hands, and allow them to relax too. Breathe in gently and softly. And allow your body, when you inhale, to take the breath deep, deep within. This gentle breath will then circulate all around your body, taking any tension or tightness you might experience with it until it reaches the soles of your feet and then dissipates. Take your awareness now to your internal organs, and with the in-breath again breathe in peace and tranquility and allow it to circulate internally, bringing a sense of peace to your internal organs. Now take your awareness to your legs, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, your feet, your toes, and the soles of your feet. And just relax. Be aware that your body is feeling light and relaxed. You have a sense of well-being, feeling safe and protected. If your mind wanders, no worry. Just relax and bring it back. Firstly, I'm going to read you a poem. I call it an improvisation because I am doing to this poem exactly the same treatment that a musician gives to a piece of music. He takes the notes, the body of the music, and just plays around with it, altering some of the notes and changing the order and making beautiful music. I have done this with David's poem, Now is Perfect. By the way, David's pen name is David ben Natan HaKohen. And this is called an improvisation. Now is perfect. The past can be revisited. The past can be a life lesson that is chosen with our consent. The past can be used to alter the present. The past can never be undone. The past can bring the summoned chance of a way to release with a healing stance. Now is real. Now can be controlled by my actions. Now is the answer to that which I seek. Now cannot be paused. We can be with the now and so experience that. Now is perfect. The future can be imagined. The future can be planned. The future is of my choosing. The future is reality that will be. The future will be perfect. Now make sure that you are comfortable. Just connect with your body again to see where you are at. Focus on your breathing again, making it soft and gentle. Breathe in and out. Again, breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Take your awareness to the upper part of your body and let yourself become calm and at peace. If anything comes in your mind to disturb your peace, just let it go. Let it go. Then take your awareness to the lower part of your body. Move until you are comfortable. And then allow yourself to become totally at peace and calm. We are now going on a journey together. I will guide you all the way. There is no rush, whatever. We have all the time we need, and I am here to make sure that you are comfortable and at peace. And just focus again on your breathing and feel your body light. Feel any tension having dissipated. And now, I want you to see yourself in a beautiful garden. Look around you. You see amazing trees and flowers of all the colors. And the perfume in the air is magnificent. And you listen. You can hear the songs of the birds. You can hear the leaves rustling in the breeze. And you look up and the sky is blue, pure blue. and the sun is shining from above. And there's a wonderful, wonderful perfume from all of the flowers and the blossoms from everywhere. And this is a beautiful place. Look around you. You then are aware that there is a wall ahead of you. Walk towards the wall. There are 3 doors. Choose to take the central door. Open the door and find yourself on a path. Close the door behind you. Walk on the path and feel yourself safe and protected. Are you alone? Look at your feet. Do you have shoes on your feet? Look to your right. What do you see? In the distance, you are aware that you are coming towards a cave. Feel safe and protected and enter the cave. The cave is a beautiful place with lights in all the corners. You can feel the energy in the cave. Do you hear any sounds in the cave? What does the cave feel like to you? What are you aware of? To the right of the cave, there is a very long table. At one end of the table, there is a cup. Lift up the cup. Examine it, the cup. What does it feel like to hold that cup? Then place the cup back down on the table and walk to the other end of the table. And there you will find a sword. Lift up the sword. How big is the sword? Is it heavy? Is it shining? Is it bright? Or is it well worn? What does it feel like holding the sword in your hand? Then place the sword back on the table. Look around you again. Is there more that you can see in the cave? Are you alone in the cave? Then be aware that the wall at the very end of the cave also has 3 doors. Walk towards the central door. Open it and find yourself on another path, a different path. Close the door behind you. You walk along the path. How does that feel? What does the ground feel like beneath your feet? Is it nighttime? Is the moon up? Or is the sun in the sky still? Ahead of you, you see a magnificent temple. Walk towards the temple. There are some steps to the entrance. Leave something outside. And then enter the temple. and look around you. You realize you are in a very holy place. And it's very beautiful. And the energy is very soft and healing. In the center, there is a platform. And on the platform, you will find many cushions that are so comfortable. You walk onto the platform and lie yourself down on the cushions, very big and soft. And then be aware that from above, there is a magnificent light. Close your eyes and just absorb that wonderful healing light. Lie back. Allow the light to permeate through your body, healing any area, filling your body with the lightness. And then, when you are ready,